You feel it in your heart and you're burning with ambition. But first, wait, won't get it on a plate. You're gonna have to work for it harder and harder. And I know, 'cause I've been there before, knocking on the doors with rejection. And you'll see, 'cause if it's meant to be, nothing can compare to deserving your dreams. It's amazing, all that you can do. It's amazing, makes my heart sing. Now it's up to you. Patience now, frustrations in the air, and people who don't care, well, it's gonna get you down, and you'll fall, yes, you will hit a wall, but get back on your feet, and you'll be stronger and smarter, and I know, 'cause I've been there before, knocking down the doors, won't take no for an answer, and you'll see, 'cause if it's meant to be, nothing can compare to deserving your dreams. It's amazing, all that you can do. It's amazing, makes my heart sing. Now it's up to you. It's amazing, all that you can do. It's amazing, makes my heart sing. And now it's up to you. Hi everyone, welcome to the Porthole to Justice. This is Amelia Duran, and it is Porthole to Justice, the window to the truth, always. It is May 28th, 2021, and I'm here today with another podcast featuring Michael Schumann with the Karmic Margin Call Project. Really exciting, something that I've been working on with Michael Schumann, the founder of Karmic Margin Call. It's to, enlighten folks about emotional IQ. Hi, Michael. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi. Thank you for having me, Amelia.
You're so welcome. I was just telling the audience, I played an awesome cover song by Jem called It's Amazing. And, I shared with the listeners a little bit about the Karmic Margin Call Project and emotional IQ and why, it's so important, especially in this day and age with the advent of social media and all of the influences that we have online that are promoting hits and things that get attention, things that are monetized, like, sex sells, obviously, and it gets hits, and these things promote, glamorization and, human trafficking, things of that nature that kind of take away from what's really important. What's really important is us talking today. And you're on the podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. And we're connecting Janet in as well, too. I was on another line, and going to keep trying to include her in on that. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing that really needs to be discussed and talked about in an emotionally intelligent way, and really focusing on our feelings, our story, what we've been through, and also what is factual, what is observable. What a lot of people don't understand, especially with social media and especially in the online world, is how calculated these big tech companies have gotten at really knowing our likes, our dislike, our triggers, the people who have been in our lives and out of our lives. And it's a complicated game, and that if we don't know ourselves emotionally, we become subject to to the gang stalking, or subject to a company trying to sell us something by pulling our triggers. So I'm looking forward to this conversation today.
Triggering, yeah, online, and the gang stalking. You mentioned some things that I personally have been exposed to, and and I can't exclude the presence of artificial intelligence and mind mapping, if you will. They really do, and I think the trigger is finding the center of the Tootsie Pop, right? Yeah. Is the name of the game, right? And what gets hits, what sells, and kind of a superficiality that has really limited the next generation that mostly is engaging online from emotional intelligence and what's really important in our lives. Our children are being shaped and molded by this. And the thing is that a lot of what the children are witnessing is what's on the outside, what's physical, but and sexuality, because that's what gets hits. That is what gets presence. That's what gets the monetization. Are you going to take our fake money and be fake and sell your soul and your sexuality? Sexuality, I think, is something really important I want to talk about, because we should be teaching respect. We should be teaching respect for ourselves and others as individuals, regardless of their sexuality. That shouldn't be the main spectacle of a person's. And I think radical acceptance of others involves this, and we're approaching that because there is the trans movement as well, that I don't think is going to go away anytime soon. So, and I don't think others are so closed off to that as some would say. And but it is online, and I just I'm triggers. So triggers. And mental health, I think are really important.
Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, like you said, especially with the trans movement and all of that aspect of it, we really have to have those deeper conversations about where people have, what's real, what's authentic, what is something that is being learned from somewhere else, from an external source. Are you getting your information just by reading about stuff, or are you really talking to people about how they feel and what they've experienced? It's really easy to miss each other, to miss those connections. Some people who have been a part of that movement, have come out to say that they, when they look back and they look through the stories, they did kind of feel peer pressured and manipulated into, believing this, or to, make a decision to do something, very drastic, like, like a surgery or whatnot. And I'm not saying that that's not necessarily, that's not wrong at all. I'm just saying that, it's important that we peel back to the layers and really create those safe spaces where, we can all really kind of separate, what is our story? Who are the people, who are the characters in that story, and how did they influence us? What were we feeling at that time? How are we changing? And also about, what is factual? Trying to get to what is factual is very difficult to get to because there's so much emotional shrouding behind it. Talking about something like, the election being fabricated or whatnot. It's hard to get to a real conversation about that because everything is so combative. And that's very calculated. I believe that's very calculated, Amelia. And that's part of, psychological operations. You can't even talk about a psychological operation without getting triggered.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I was talking to Avishk, who is a journalist in Social Media News Network that I've been friends with for several years online. And, in India, their big trigger is who's vegan and non-vegan. And I kind of chuckled a little bit because compared to what America has been inundated with by China, or Chinese politics or influence on the United States, if you will, has been, it's kind of, it is kind of comical a little bit because we have been inundated with so much hate and bullying and identity politics that it's amazing. It's just so hard for one to wrap their mind around. And I don't think that we're having these one-on-one conversations or we're really calling these things out for what they are, truthfully. Are we even acknowledging that this is what is occurring and is happening, that these things have been weaponized in our mainstream media and on our social platforms, as well as, and in our schools. So these are things that our children are grappling with. Hi, Janet. Welcome to Janet. The podcast.
Hi.
We're live, by the way.
We put you in on the phone because I'm not able to get through to you on the video Skype. So I figured great.
That's fine.
Great. Yeah. So we started our conversation, and I do want to speak to what you also just said, Amelia, about that polarization, and then we'll include Janet here on our conversation as well, and how that translates to mental health. But yeah, a lot of what people don't understand about those emotional triggers is that we're being influenced by this tribalistic motivation about separating us. We're looking at the conflict now in the Middle East, and I just had this conversation with a few friends about an hour or so ago. A lot of our religious beliefs, what's been handed down, and even in the pseudo-spiritual communities, is when you look at something like Islam, when you look at Judaism, when you look at Christianity, which is a derivative of Judaism, these are all sects. These are all movements that were influenced by a god of war. I'm going to say what I mean by that. When you trace back the history and you look back, throughout, how the traditions have been handed down through the Kabbalah or whatever, the God that we're worshiping, whether you're a Christian or, you're a Jew or, you're a Muslim, you're worshiping the god of war, which was, part of a pantheon of gods from Sumeria. So these traditions or these psychological operations, these tactics have been handed down for thousands of years, and the intention is to kind of create blind spots, to create triggers, to create conflict, to be the best, to compete. And that's something that, these psychological tactics are so deeply ingrained, and there are people in this world who are so good at it, and I think they're informing the tech companies as well, that the goal is to create a negative polarity. The goal is to get us to argue with each other and not see eye to eye. And, and it's in the mental health profession as well, where, even mental health clinicians and professionals are antagonistic, to the point where, an argument ensues. Rather than really creating those safe spaces to talk about, what did I see, what did I observe, the fact, how did I feel about that, and what have I experienced, what is my story around that, to the point where, even in self-empowerment modalities like Landmark or EST or